welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet one of my favorite headbands. It's called the Slanted Ribbed Headband because we're stitching in the back loops, which makes these nice ridges, and it's all stitched on a slant. They're super easy and super fun to make, and you can make it as big or as small as needed. Now you can find this free crochet pattern on my blog, and I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make one of these headbands, you're going to need some yarn, and you can use any medium weight number 4 yarn that you have on hand. You can use cotton, acrylic, blends, wool, alpaca, whatever you have on hand, as long as it's a medium number 4 weight yarn. And you'll need about an ounce depending on how big you're making the headband. We're going to be stitching with our eye hook today, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need a needle to weave in ends, and you'll need your scissors. And that's it. It's a great yarn stash busting project. We're going to begin with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 13 chains. Now remember to make this initial chain just a little bit loose because we're going to be joining the ends together, and you don't want one end to be puckered up. Whoops. And 13. Alright, so now we're going to begin by stitching a single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then we'll stitch 1 single crochet in each of those chains across. We're going to end up with 12 single crochets because we began with 13 and we stitched our first single crochet and the second chain from the hook. So we have 12 single crochets. We're going to chain 1 and turn. We chained 1 and turn. And now for row 2, we're going to be stitching in the back loops only. You can look at the top and see that we have 2 rows of loops. The loops on this side facing you are your front loops. The loops on this side facing away are your back loops. And we're going to be stitching in the back loops only. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch, so we're going to go right in that first back loop of the first single crochet and stitch 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now we're going to stitch in the next 9 single crochets, working in the back loops only. And that leaves 2 left, and we're going to stitch the last 2 together. So what we'll do is we'll go in, we'll pull up a loop, then we'll go in the next stitch and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops instead of 2. Yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops and chain 1. And this is what causes the slant. We'll be doing this on every other row. 2 single crochets in the first, 1 in the next 9, and then stitch the last 2 together. We chain 1 and turn, and now for row 3, we're still stitching in the back loops, but we're only going to place 1 single crochet in each of those 12 stitches. I stitched 1 single crochet in each of those 12 stitches, chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to repeat what we did on row 2. We're going to stitch 2 single crochets, always working in the back loop. 1, 2, get in there. 1 single crochet in the next 9. And then stitch the last 2 together. Chain 1 and turn. And then again for the next row, we chained 1 and turn, and now we're going to place 1 single crochet in each of those 12 stitches. I've completed that row of 1 single crochet in each single crochet across, and I think now you can see how the slant works. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue to repeat row 2 and row 3 until it's the length that we need. You'll alternate row 2, row 3. You'll do one row where you have 2 on the end and put the last 2 together, chain 1, turn, and then 1 row of single crochets. That's row 2 and row 3 alternating. Now, if you want to make it the 22 inches around, you're going to need to repeat those 2 rows for 57 more rows. That's for a 22-inch head. If you want to make it larger or smaller, 3 rows equal approximately an inch. And of course that depends on how tightly you stitch. So make sure that you have your tape measure handy and you can measure as you go. So we're going to be repeating row 2 and row 3 for 57 more times, and that's going to get you a 22-inch headband. Remember one thing, this is a very stretchy headband, and you don't want to make it too big or it will slide right off your head. I've stitched as many rows as I need to fit my head, and you can see the natural slant that happens as we stitch it up. Isn't that lovely? Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to join the 2 ends together and close our headband. We're going to put the 2 ends together, and you'll notice that it's at a slant. Don't let that scare you. It's really easy still. We'll put the 2 ends together. Be careful not to twist your headband, unless you want to twist in it, of course. We're going to go in the first stitch on this side, and I am going through both loops, and the first stitch on this side, I'm going to grab that loop and pull it through and chain 1. All right, so now I'm going to take this and set it this way, and now I can stitch across both. So we'll go in the first stitch on this side, or the next stitch on this side, and the next stitch on this side, and stitch a single crochet. We're not stitching in the back loops. We're going through both loops because we want to make sure that our headband stays put together. And so we'll just do stitches on this side and single crochet them together. Basically, we're using single crochet stitches to sew our headband together. See how that looks? And it's going to blend right in with the ridges that we already have. So we'll just continue this across, stitching single crochets, stitching the 2 ends of our headband together. So I've stitched across, stitching single crochet, stitching the two ends of my headband together. We're going to tie off, and all we have left to do is to weave in these two ends. And then my headband will be ready for me to wear. Now this yarn that I'm using here is Mandala Ombre that I had left from a previous project. And I want to make sure I'm weaving this in real good because this is where the headband's going to be held together. And the key to getting a good weave in is to make sure that you use a needle and that you go through stitches and fibers of the yarn, especially in a spot like this where it's going to hold this headband together. Alrighty. And see how that row of single crochet blends right in with those other ridges? Looks nice. And here's my headband all completed. I got a large section of pink with some teal, lavender, and green, and it's going to go with a lot of my summer outfits. This one is made with Mandala Ombre, and this one is made using Red Heart Super Saver in stripes. Now, just a reminder, if you want to make your headband larger or smaller, 3 rows equal approximately an inch. If you want to make your headband wider, 4 chains equal approximately an inch. So you can make it wider if you want to, and you can make it longer and shorter if you want to as well. And you can make it more narrow if you want a thinner headband. So it's very versatile, and you can use any kind of yarns. So the possibilities for the types of headbands are endless. I hope you use this pattern and have a lot of fun.